Welcome into Pro Basketball Today. This is Coach Young. This is episode 2 of Pro Basketball Today. And what better way as a coach to get started than with our starting lineup? With Ja suspended. Ja Morant was suspended on his game Sunday following comments that were made after Friday night's loss to the Lakers. And Ja went on to say that, coaching staff went wrong with him versus the Lakers. Ja finished on with 8 points in 31 minutes on 3 of 14 shooting from the floor in that 117-112 loss. And there's been talk that there's been arguments or fussing with the head coach of the Grizzlies in his first year. When you look at the fact that you have a first-year coach, right, and Tomas Izarro, you have to look at the fact of, is there already problems in paradise? You got to remember, folks, they had a good run with Taylor Jenkins that was let go in the middle of last year. So when you look at Memphis and you look at Ja Morant, this is not the first time Ja's had problems with the organization. We can talk about the incidents with the guns and the fighting and the injuries, and it's starting to look like there is a divorce that could be on the future with Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies. At some point, they've moved Desmond Bane. So now it's either Triple J or Ja. Now, obviously, Ja still can fetch you a decent amount in the trade market, but he's got it proven to be healthy. So this is a problem for Memphis, a Memphis team that I thought was going to play better. They are 3-4 after their loss last night, but we have to see how this unfolds. But once again, Ja Morant was suspended for Sunday night's game based on his comments that he made to the media after the loss to the Lakers. Speaking of point guards and out, let's move on to Trae Young. Trae Young will be out for 4 weeks, according to Shams, after he had a sprained MCL in his right knee. He'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks' time. The best thing about this story is it seems like Trae has dodged any kind of major structural damages. And if you look at an Atlanta Hawks team that is right now at 3-4 to start the year, there's going to have to be adjustments made to the team. The last time they played was a 117-109 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, in which what they did is they just put Dyson Daniels to the point. So I think it's something you need to watch out for as you put Dyson Daniels at the point and you go Nickeil Alexander-Walker at the 2. So now Dyson Daniels will become a little bit more of a distributor in regards, and you have a capable guard in Alexander Walker, who obviously had a great year last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That does put a little bit more pressure on people like Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis. Okongwu has been really strong off the bench to start the year. But this is not the news you were looking for a guy that I said as we were leading up to the season may have the most pressure on him for the entire Eastern Conference, if not the NBA. So Trae Young out with a sprained MCL in his right knee. He should be reevaluated after 4 weeks of time of being out for injury. Let's see how he holds up. And if can Atlanta continue to stay in the race in the Southeast Division, a division right now that has Miami Heat a half game in front, 3-3 at record time. You know who's been playing really well? That's Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, and although a rough game, is averaging 26.7 points per game, 13.7 rebounds, 4.7 blocks, shooting at 53% from the floor, 29% from 3. But that's not the reason why I bring up Wemby. It comes up as of late, it seems like Wemby is now the favorite, ready to be MVP, most improved, and DPOY. And with something that would be absolutely unprecedented for the league for someone to win all 3 awards. Now, obviously, San Antonio off to a 5-1 start. Obviously, had their loss last night to Phoenix, but Wemby has been absolutely fantastic on both sides of the ball. We've talked about the play of the San Antonio Spurs to start the season and what Coach Johnson has done. But I think it's about the ascension of Wemby really becoming that two-way force that we talked about when he came into the league. The ability to shoot the ball from three. I know the 28.6% is not where he wants it to be. I told you I wanted to be about 35, 36%. But over 50% from the floor, getting you 14 rebounds, getting you about 5 blocks per game, and giving you some assists. So to me, it's about, can this guy play 65 games? If Wemby plays 65 games, folks, he's going to be first team All-NBA, maybe worse, second team All-NBA. If he plays 65, 70 games, folks, I fully expect the San Antonio Spurs to be in the playoffs. If Wemby plays 65 games, he's going to win DPOY. Depending on his stats, he could be in the running for MIP, Most Improved Player. The MVP talk will be more centered about the fact of how they were to perform as a team, San Antonio. If he can get that team into a top 5 seed in the West and he plays the way he's playing, then obviously Wemby's going to be a front runner for what he has done in elevating that franchise. Let's head to the NBA Cup, which started on Friday. Remember, games were played Tuesday, Friday. Teams were in groups of 3. And there was a couple of noticeable games of note. First one is Portland. And Thiago Splitter has done a fantastic job with this Portland Trailblazers team, winning a thrilling 109-107 win over the Denver Nuggets to put them at a record of 4-2. And it's just been the play of it's one. Their defense has been very, very good. I know they had a tight game on Wednesday night when it was a 136-134 win versus Utah. But when you kind of look at Portland and what they've done, what has it been? It's been Jeremy Grant, the veteran. It's been, coming off the bench. It's been Kamara. It's been Debbie Avija. It's been Don McClingan. It's been Drew Holiday. It's the leadership. It's been Shannon Sharp. It's been the sum of their parts. And I think that's what's really impressive with Portland is they're showing growth and maturity, but they're showing a way to win games. And I think having Grant, but especially getting Drew Holiday as an adult in the room, you also got to look at the fact that Robert Williams is on the team. Now, Rob Will is not going to give you big minutes, but this guy also came from a winning culture in Boston. So good start by the Portland Trailblazers with really, I would think, the most surprising win of the first day of the NBA Cup. Let's go to the other game, and that's the 117-112 win by the Lakers. What is of note? Luka came back, and Luka dropped an absolute 40-piece. And it's just so explosive how we talked about at some point this was going to have to be Luka's team. Obviously, LeBron is still out, and he's done a great job since he came back, just that one game that he's been back, and what he has done. But you know who else has been really good? And that's been the play of Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is on a torrid start, shooting 35.5%, 34.4% from three, 49% from the floor, 31.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 9.3 assists. That is the key thing with Austin, is not his ability to score, but the assists. And I was trying to think about, like, if I thought about Austin Reeves and try to get a comparison, who do I think he is? And honestly, the closest thing I can come to is a mix between Jamal Crawford and Jason Williams, white chocolate. He's got the handle, he's got the flash, but he's got an incredible scoring ability. And I think that's what's really important for the Lakers is now they have that point guard attack with him, and now Luka back from injury. Coming up after the commercial break, we'll get into our future focus. We'll look at that 4-2 start by Portland. We'll expand upon what I think is really important. Obviously, OKC off to a 7-0 start to begin the year, although they've dealt with injuries. And what is going on in New Orleans with their start, and a couple of teams, including Philadelphia, who looks really good. We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back to episode 2 of Pro Basketball Today. And let's get into our future focus, leading off with a team I talked about a little bit in the last segment, and that's the Portland Trailblazers, a team that's off to a 4-2 start, playing really good basketball, won their last 3 games. And what's important about what you see from Portland is it's really the sum of their parts. You know, when you looked at Portland and what they did last year, especially down the stretch, one of the key things that I think has to come of note was the player of Devi Avdija, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the league. Devi's off to a fantastic start, getting you about 23 points per game and 6 rebounds and 4.2 assists, really having the ball in his hands a lot. But there's other veterans that have stepped up to the plate. Jeremy Grant, someone that at times that I've knocked for having one of the worst contracts in the league, is getting you 20 points per game off the bench. So it gives them a little bit of length in regard to what he could do, his ability to stretch the floor from 3. But it's also the trade for Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday at the season pro that's getting you about 18 points per game, 8.7 assists to go along with Shaedon Sharpe giving you 17.3. So you got 4 guys getting you between 17.3 and 22.7. I haven't talked about the play of Kamara or the play of Klingon or Chris Murray. So when you look at Thiago Splitter and how they're playing a really good brand of basketball where they are becoming about the sum of their parts. If you line up the Portland Trailblazers, they don't have a guy in the top 10 in the NBA. They don't have a top 20 player. I don't even know if they have a top 30 player. Could they even have a top 40 player? But if they have a collection of guys that have bought into a coach, whether it's Chauncey Billups or Thiago Splitter, and playing the right basketball, this is the Portland Trailblazers team that I told everyone before the season they were going to go over their win total and they were going to make the playoffs. So far, a good start for the Portland Trailblazers. One team they're looking up in the conference, should not be a surprise, is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who right now are playing at 7-0, undefeated in the NBA, and really are playing really great basketball. The only team, I do believe right now, that is still undefeated. But what's really amazing is they're doing it with guys being out. Jalen Williams has missed the entire season so far. Chet Holmgren has missed the last 3 games. But they're getting contributions from people we expect and then others that we did not. Obviously, you got to start off with the MVP, SGA, getting you at about 34 points per game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, I should say, about 5 rebounds a game, and shooting it right now at about a 53% clip. But what we did not have on our bingo card is the play of Ajay Mitchell, who is giving you, sit down, folks, 17.3 points per game. Does that mean something to you? Does that ring a bell? Like, Ajay Mitchell last year played 36 games and got you 6.5. So now he's giving you 17.3. So now you have Mitchell that's doing his part. Isaiah Joe has stepped up his scoring. He's giving you 16.5. Wiggins is giving you 13.4. Hartenstein's averaging a double-double. So that's a crazy thing. Like, it's not Lou Dort, although he's giving you 7.3. It's not Caruso, even though he's giving you 6. This is showing why Sam Presti is the best GM in the league. He continues to find guys who step in and step up, which makes them more dangerous. Why? Because at some point, he's going to move some of these guys that aren't going to get a ton of time. Or maybe he doesn't and keeps this long rotation of young players. But because of their age, because of their depth, and mostly because of Mark Daigneault, Sam Presti, and SGA, this team is undefeated, and there's no team that's near them right now. And wait till they get Chet and J-Dub back from injury. You know who's not playing well? A team that I thought could go over their win total, and I looked to be extremely wrong, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans. Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. And it's already getting time that we have to look at, is it going to be looked at to move on from Willie Green as a coach? This was a New Orleans Pelicans team that a couple of years ago in a 1-8 matchup versus Phoenix was up in a game 6 at home and it could have forced a game 7, a Phoenix Suns team that I do believe that year went on to the NBA Finals. So what is going wrong with them? Well, Zion's giving you 22.8, which you can't be mad at, but Zion, a guy that doesn't shoot perimeter shots much, is only shooting it at about 48.7% from the floor. That's got to be much higher. Jordan Poole's giving you 19 points per game, but he's only shooting at 37% from the floor. Trey Murphy III giving you 12 points a game. He's only giving 14 points a game. He's only shooting it at 39% from the floor. So their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans? Do you now hope that Zion is healthy enough that you can move him? Do you move Trey Murphy III, another player that can give you, I think, a good haul, because I think he's one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. But Fly Pelican is grounded Pelicans, and they got to fix it soon, or Willie Green could be the first coach fired this season. Also looking good is Philadelphia. And I want people to understand something right now as they are off to a 5-1 start. They are playing really good basketball because of that back court. Right there, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Tyrese getting you about 30 points a game. VJ Edgecombe right now is playing as good or better than any other rookie. It's a really interesting rookie of the year race already right now between Cooper Flagg, Edgecombe, and Dylan Harper coming off the bench with San Antonio. But I'm going to say this. The future is here, and the future is now in Philadelphia. I have an edict to Nick Nurse. I know PG8 has had a great career, but when he comes back, he must come off the bench because Kelly Oubre is playing well as well. And you have to have a conversation with Joel Embiid and let him know you have done a fantastic job with this organization. But this organization goes through those two young kids. And if you have a problem with that, you can hit the bricks as well. Coming up next, we'll get into the fastest 4 minutes. We'll talk a little bit about Tyrese Maxey and his start. Lauri Markkanen scoring at an insane clip. And some players not playing so well, including Klay Thompson, after this commercial break. Welcome back to Pro Basketball today, and it's time to get into the fastest 4 minutes of basketball, which is my final four. Let's start off with what we talked about a little bit is that hot start for Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey through 6 games with Philadelphia is averaging 33.7 points per game, shooting 46.6% from the floor, 1 tick higher from 3, and getting you 9 assists and 4.8 rebounds. And he's showing the fact that this was the Tyrese Maxey that we saw during that playoff series versus the Knicks, where him and Brunson were literally going at it every game. And I think it's time that Nick Nurse hands the keys to that team to Tyrese Maxey, an explosive guard that's playing phenomenally, really well right now for a Philadelphia team that's off to a great start. Speaking of on to a great start, we have to acknowledge the play of Lauri Markkanen. A Lauri Markkanen that every year we keep hearing. He's on the trading block. Well, if he's on the trading block, Danny Ainge is going to get a hell of a return because Lauri, through 6 games, is averaging 33 points per game, getting 6.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, shooting about 38% from the floor and 49% from 3. Now, 49% from the floor, 38% from 3, excuse me. Do I think he's going to keep this up? No. Listen, they got guys that are out. Georges Niang is out. Isaiah Collier is out. They're still trying to get Ace Bailey acclimated and involved into their offensive flow. And Walker Kessler's missed some time as well. So do I think Lauri's going to be a 33-point-a-game scorer? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you this right now, if you're Danny Ainge, you better hope that this kid will get you 25, 27, 30 points per game, because at some point they're going to punt on Markkanen because they have other guys, including Kessler, and who can move as well, Taylor Hendricks as well. And then you got to look at where they can line themselves up in the lottery, especially the fact that everybody knows they want AJ DeBanza. But what a start for Lauri Markkanen. You know who's not having a good start? And that's Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is at a career low, 8.7 points per game. He's shooting a career low 29% from three and 33% from the floor. And this is tough to watch a player that's had a phenomenal career kind of go downhill. Now, there are ways you can look at this. You can look at the fact that last year he was playing with Luka and then with Kyrie. And now what's happening is it's a little bit of a different adjustment for Klay in regards to the fact that he doesn't have that traditional point guard, and now you have Cooper Flagg running the point. Do I think this is the end of the road for Klay Thompson? No. But if you are Jason Kidd, and this guy is not getting you the production that you need out of him, you either got to put a point guard in there that can get him the ball. They do have D'Angelo Russell, or you have to look at not playing Klay Thompson as many minutes as you were. Let's head to the Joker, who's off to not a great start in regards to shooting splits. I know 59.1% from the floor is outstanding, but the 23.8% from three is concerning, along with the 20.4 points per game. I know people are going to look at the fact that he's averaging a triple-double. Here is my thing with the Joker. I'm just concerned about his three-point shooting percentage. I know the 20.4 is down, but you got to remember, Eric Gordon has had a 50-point game. Jamal Murray's had a 40-point game. They're getting contributions off the bench from people like Tim Hardaway Jr. So I'm okay in the down-ticket points per game if I can get that three-point shooting percentage up and Denver continues to win basketball games. Let's end with Cat, who's the reason why I want to bring up Cat, although he's getting you 18.3 points per game and he's shooting at 36% from three, is my concern with his conditioning. I went on the putback with Ian Begley, and we talked about this. Cat is not in great shape. Cat is playing hurt with a quad strain. If I am the Knicks, I shut him down. I get him healthy. I get him up to speed, because the Cat that I see with New York, even though he's getting you 18.3 points a game, is not the Cat that Knicks fans expect. Let's get to the buzzer beater and what our guy Joel Embiid. So Joel Embiid just got fined for doing his DX crotch stop. Well, I'm not going to do it because I may get fined. $50,000 when he did it on Friday versus Boston. But do you know we got fined $75,000 last year, or $8,700 the year before? Why did he get this fine of $50K? The game was Friday night NBA Cup on ESPN. One of two things has to happen. Either Embiid's got to get a new celebration, or the NBA's got to lighten up. Something tells me it's going to be the first one. This has been Pro Basketball Today, episode 2 for November 5th. 3rd. I don't even know the date. It's the 3rd. For all things sports gambling, download the Sports Grid app, pregame, in-game, postgame, props, predictions, and more from the very best of the sports gambling industry. I'll be back on the 5th. Back for college basketball today. For my producer, Matt George, thanks for listening, folks. Remember, it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Good night.